Dude, Luke, the printer's still busted, man. What the fuck?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 81 of the Topless Robot Podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm Tyler.
I'm Brooks.
Dan.
And we had an episode last week. That's why I say 81. 80 did exist. We did do an episode last week.
It was too cool for the internet.
It was fairly punished. My internet connection was not having it. And I think... the stream archive might exist on some things in 10 to 15 minute chunks.
Yeah. So we recorded an episode. The problem is only about a third of the frames got through to you and about a quarter of the audio.
Yeah. And because we're having to do the call in this way, and it was my internet that was fucking up. It wasn't just us streaming that fucked it up. It was my communication to everyone else and their communication to me, which is where everything is being captured and recorded. So unfortunately, episode 80 is lost to time.
Is Ryan saying anything?
God damn it, fuck you, Bruce. Shut the fuck up. So it has been a week.
Has it? I think time's lost all meaning.
Yeah, believe it or not, it's been a week. It's been another week in quarantine. So let's get some of the Rona shit out of the way right out the gate. The Prime Minister of the UK, Boris Johnson, has tested positive for coronavirus and has just been admitted to the hospital as his symptoms worsened.
Do you think he's still shaking people's hands?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
His nurse walks into the room.
I don't know what the fuck it is with these world leaders. Like, Trump made the same proud declaration. Pence made the same proud declaration. That's what you do. You shake hands. No, I'm sorry. During a global pandemic, all of that goes out the fucking window. None of that matters anymore. You don't do that because actually by doing that, you're showing how ignorant you are and how fucking stupid you are.
Yeah, but that's what people want. That's what people want out of the world leaders now. They want like egotistical businessmen. They don't want, anybody who's even remotely rational.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And Bolsonaro, who, that crazy fucker in South America, wherever the fuck, I can't remember where he's the president. Is it Brazil?
I think it's Brazil.
He still thinks that this is all, a fucking scheme, and it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I've heard my share of that.
And I've been seeing a lot of the conspiracy. Somehow these conspiracy theorists have linked coronavirus to 5G.
Oh, yeah.
The towers, brother, the towers.
Woody Harrelson's even in on it, too.
How?
So
the one I read.
Well, the 5G is obviously controlling the electronic birds, and then there was a virus that was sent through the 5G to the birds that aren't real, and that's causing the coronavirus. Obviously, come on, Ryan, get woke. As
I've said before, there's only room for one G in my life, brother, and that's God.
And there's a big old capital on that.
At what point? You guys made me totally lose it. I had a thing, and I completely lost it. I absolutely lost it.
No.
Doing that to Brooks fills me with great joy. Now you see what it feels like.
I feel nothing.
So, don't quote me on this. I could be wrong, but if I'm not
Ryan said he could be wrong.
If I'm not mistaken, 5G operates at the same frequency as broadcast television used to. And the whole reason that we're able to use 5G is because that broadcast television band is no longer in use. I could be mistaken. That could be a different, I might be mixing two different things. But the frequency with which 5G broadcasts is nothing new. So, checkmate conspiracy theorists?
Well,
Boom!
let's bring up the obvious checkmate here. That theory is stupid. Check conspiracy.
Yeah, there is that.
Quick rebuttal, brother. Your counter argument is exactly what the government has spoon-fed to you. It is the response that I knew you would give.
Sorry, Obama told me that when I met him in Kenya before he was president. You know?
I have decided.
Follow Jesus.
Thanks Corona is the new Thanks Obama.
Thanks, Corona.
Man, I was really looking forward to this show that got canceled. Thanks Corona.
Man, I really am missing karaoke and not at all going insane. Hashtag thanks, Corona.
So everyone, be sure to post your first world problems. Hashtag thanks Corona.
See, now, Tyler, if Smite had inter-team voice chat, you could just sing to all the people that I'm dunking on the entire time.
That'd be amazing.
One of my favorite things to do used to be while a friend of mine would play Call of Duty on Xbox Live on Xbox 360, I would have the headset.
Yeah, that's fun.
You would just
You just talk shit even though you're not even playing the game.
No, not even talk shit. I'd just be like doing weird voices and like playing a character. Like one time I was just this little kid who really liked ice cream. And if anyone got in the way of me and my ice cream, the motherfucker's getting blasted.
Motherfuckers getting blasted for sure.
Did you ever act like an old lady? Like, oh, what's the shoot button again?
That just makes me think of internet comment etiquette and how like all of his gameplay footage that he puts in his episodes whenever he has gameplay footage is him team killing. He'll ask something that's like mildly political or relevant to whatever the video is about, and then be like, or try and get people to subscribe, and then kill his entire team.
Nice, a proper madman. I can appreciate it.
It is the best shit. So, what has been happening this past week in entertainment?
Well, I've been enjoying watching. I know this is still Corona related, but I've been enjoying watching all of the late night shows being filmed.
The first thing that came out is I've enjoyed watching the death toll rise every day.
This will teach those boomers.
It's been really interesting to see the late night shows adapt. Watching Last Week Tonight without an audience.
That's so weird. It kind of creeps me out, to be honest.
It's very strange. And like some of them are doing it better than others. I think Conan is winning as far as presentation is concerned in all those.
Do you put body pillows in all the chairs?
No. Conan.
If not, hey, someone's got to do it now.
Conan had a really candid, like long form chat with Adam Sandler, and they live in the same neighborhood, and that was pretty entertaining. Adam Sandler apparently like yelled at an old lady neighbor of theirs he's out walking the dog, and this old lady is walking her dog too, and the dog is not on a leash and starts approaching his dog, and he's like, "Lady, put it on a leash." And the dog's coming over, and she starts coming over, and he just wants her to stay away because coronavirus. And so he just ends up yelling at this old lady in the neighborhood. And it's funny to get these kind of more candid, just like we're having a conversation kind of interviews now, where everything previously was significantly more my PR, has said that I can say these things. And now it is much closer to like British panel shows, where like British panel shows, they'll say whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. They just talk and be themselves. And I feel like there hasn't been an outlet for American celebrities in popular media to do that because they're very tightly controlled by PR. And now this seems to be an opportunity for some of them to just talk very candidly.
Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel had Samuel Jackson on his show and did the stay the fuck home.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
That whole interview is so weird because it's really a lot like what we're doing right now,
Right.
where it's like Samuel Jackson was just in his like viewing room where he watches movies, and Jimmy Kimmel's on his fucking kitchen table.
Yep.
And they're just like talking about random shit, and it's just like, what are you doing in this time right now? Like, how have you been living with this? And then obviously stay the fuck home happened, which was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, talking about Adam Sandler had that experience with an old lady out in the streets. I heard from my mother, who was out walking, that she caught an old lady who had their garage door open, and she was just walking by minding her own business. And this old lady gets like really defensive of her like open garage because it's stacked full of toilet paper, and she thinks my mom's gonna try and like rob her toilet paper.
Look, we're not to Mad Max yet.
And my mom was just like, I'm just walking, like, leave me the fuck alone. I don't care about your toilet paper.
Mad
just
Max
imagining
Beyond
my-
the Thunder Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm imagining Mido from Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, like blocking the little entrance to the.
But like,
no.
It is. They were like the appropriately crazy person. Like from what I was told, the toilet paper was stacked up like from the floor to the ceiling, like on every wall.
Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Yep.
can you can you report that now yet? I feel like we're getting to that point.
Only if they're selling it. They have to be selling it.
If they're price gouging and selling, then it's a problem.
But if technically hoarding is legal, so
yeah. Though not necessarily now, because restrictions have been put in place by the grocery stores, limits on these hygiene.
right. But that's not a legality change. That's just the store saying we're limiting how much you can buy.
Sure.
It isn't illegal for those people to buy a bunch of it. The stores just aren't letting them.
Yeah. Another reason that Conan is winning this new format is since we were kind of putting this like pretty much right around St. Patrick's Day was when we started seeing the first kind of cities and states close down. Conan did a how to stay sanitary during St. Patrick's Day, where he had someone pour some whiskey, like Jameson, over his hands while he was washing his hands for 20 seconds. And then they started pouring a box of Lucky Charms over his hands while he was washing his hands for 20 seconds. And it was great. It was perfect. Conan, by far, in my opinion, is handling the lack of an audience best and producing the best content.
Well, Conan, it makes sense. I feel like Conan's always been like a tight heat between Conan and John Oliver right now. But in terms of creativity of what they do and how much they don't really give a fuck.
Yeah. But even John Oliver without an audience is heavily scripted. And whereas Conan seems to like have an idea and then just shoot it. John Oliver is still definitely has his team of writers, and he's obviously writing stuff himself. And then they're sticking to their format just without an audience.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Conan's just like, well, hey, this is where I live now. This is, Conan seems to be approaching it from the direction that a YouTuber with an idea would.
That's cool.
Which is why I love him, because he's always been really fucking funny.
Everyone else is still heavily scripted, and scripted. What sucks is in the context of late night, scripted means writing with consideration for laughter breaks. And so you can see them deliver and instinctively wait. and it feels awkward and it doesn't fit as a format on YouTube. Never mind that, like, watch any YouTuber who is hilarious and who has been writing for YouTube. You can have scripted YouTube channels. You just can't write those beats. You can't write those moments. If you're used to being in front of an audience, you're used to that immediate feedback and things like that. And if you're waiting for it, it makes it awkward. But there are people...
Unless you have a laugh track!
Hey guys, can we get a laugh track here? Like, sorry. Let's just laugh track it up. And,
I was gonna say I've got the fucking pads on the soundboard, but right now I'm using one of them for the PC, so I can't use the pads. But
I forget if I've ever brought this up before, but talking about like shitty canned laughter and laugh tracks and stuff like that. Ever tell you about the canned laughter on Space Station 13?
Yeah, you did.
It's an actual can, and when the clown opens it, and he makes you chug it, and then your character just keeps laughing uncontrollably.
I'm willing to bet. So here's a fun fact. I'm willing to bet that Brooks probably knows this, but do you guys know where the laugh track originated?
No.
Tyler?
I feel like I've heard this fact before, but I've forgotten.
Fran Drescher from The Nanny.
Really?
Yes. She was attacked in her home and felt uncomfortable in front of an audience afterwards, understandably. And so that's where laugh tracks started.
Okay.
Was in order to keep those laugh beats, but still be able to perform to not an audience. And
They've had canned laughter long before that, though.
No.
I mean, like I've... right. Fake. Sorry, I was confusing live studio audience with canned laughter again.
Up to that
Tastes
point,
like the real thing.
Up to that point, the sitcoms and whatnot were always performed in front of a live studio audience and didn't have to have a laugh track. Of course, I'm sure they probably scouted people. And actually, there are unionized people who are laugh seeds that have distinct laughs that productions will go out and hire and have them sit in the audience in order to seed the laugh. So someone who just has like a good belly laugh or something like that, aside from recording the laugh track, they hire all these kinds of people for recording the laugh track as well. But even in a live studio audience, in order to make sure that the laugh grows and feels good, they hire plants. They hire people to put in the audience who can, let out a strong guttural laugh, because laughing breeds laughing. We're social creatures, and so when we're around people who are laughing, we tend to laugh.
I have found my new dream job. My new dream job is this: to be an audience laugher.
I'm a professional laugher.
It's so easy to make me laugh.
It's a real thing.
I will do this immediately. I'm looking for fucking Craigslist.
Radiolab did a whole episode on this kind of thing, including covering the Fran Drescher thing and the origin of the laugh track. And it's really fascinating. But for these laughers, they'll usually try and hire people who have a distinct laugh, something slightly unusual about their laugh. And
so Fran Drescher was obviously the first one hired.
Yeah. But no, like a good, strong guttural laugh or something like that, that'll get people around him going. And it kind of, it's like a yawn, like you lack that empathic response if you don't yawn when others yawn. It's the same kind of thing as a laugh. A laugh is something that, is part of our evolution and a way to indicate that we're just joking. Like even mice laugh, fucking chimps laugh. Everyone, every creature has some kind of form of laughter in order to indicate, look, this isn't serious.
I wonder if hippos laugh.
Probably.
Some form of laugh.
I only know what they sound like when they're hungry.
Oh, God.
Hungry hippos.
It's just a lot of smacking
Clack,
plastic,
clack,
right?
clack,
Laugh track.
Clack,
So-
clack, 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 clack.
I finally watched Tiger King.
Yes.
Are you going to be Joe Exotic for Halloween?
Oh, Christ. I wonder if I could get his voice down. It's kind of like it's up here and he's really proud and he's got... No, it's not quite. But I'm sure I could work on it.
You gotta have that high, like country drawl a little bit.
That bitch Carol Baskins.
That bitch Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskins. My roommate posted probably my favorite meme to come out of the Tiger King thing, and it's two landscapes side by side, how everyone sees the world and how Joe Exotic sees the world, and there's just a ring in the top left corner of it because of his goofy ass eyebrow ring that droops and is way too big.
Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I don't get a lot of what happened in that series. I don't get a lot of the people who are in that series.
Just because you're not Florida man enough.
I apparently am not.
That is legitimately what that show is.
That is Florida Man, the documentary. Yep.
Except,
that is 100%.
They're not in Florida.
He's Oklahoma Man.
Yes.
Yeah, whatever. But they're Florida Man. Florida Man has no borders.
Florida Man's not a place. It's what you have inside.
Yeah.
Welcome to the International Order of Florida.
Florida Man is
the International Fraternity of Florida Men.
It's a state of being, okay? It's transcendental.
Yeah. We don't cover dental.
They get little Shriner hats and drive around in the cars.
Oh, man.
They actually interviewed Joe Exotic like 2 days ago, and like Netflix did like a follow-up interview.
Oh, really?
With him, yeah. And like they were just asking him how like things were gonna be when he gets out. It was actually kind of an interesting interview. Like it was a very short, like minute-long interview.
He's in like for like 26 years, isn't he, or something like that?
22 years?
It's been that long since we've been in quarantine.
Oh, God.
Oh, no. We've been here the whole time.
This is what 22 years of growth looks like on me.
This is what 22 years of growth looks like on me. Checks out. Checks out. I'm just saying.
Accurate.
But yeah, like it was something like the first question was like, what are you going to be like when you get out of jail? He's like, well, I'm just going to be as crazy as I always have been, or something like that. But then they asked him,
He's like, except now I'm going to be famous.
Right? Jesus Christ.
He'll be at the next Comic-Con.
He says he's done. Oh, he's going to be. Oh, I'm getting an interview. Autograph. I'm 100% going to get Joe Exotic.
We may as well get an interview, too. I mean, God knows he's not going to say no.
Oh, God. Yeah, let's do it.
He might do a fat line of cocaine on camera, though.
Look, whatever, man. I don't fucking care. That'll be an interesting conversation.
Even though it'll be clear that we're sitting in a house, he's going to whip out the cocaine and we're going to like, friendly reminder that Topless Robot is filmed in international waters where this is not illegal.
He has a prescription for that. This is just how he likes to take his antihistamines.
This is my prescription cocaine, brother.
No, the best argument is, look, they used to be addicted to cocaine, and now this is the only way they can take pills.
That's actually just smushed up Benadryl. He uses his Immortal and Pestle every day. So it's the same high.
It's Fun Dip.
Ooh, that'd be
except
gross.
that it's Coke and the little candy is a finger.
Yes, but just like real life.
They were training us to be drug addicts the whole time. Pixie sticks, fun dip. We even used to snort pixie sticks in fucking grade school.
And they used to believe in birds as well.
But yeah, so that was definitely an interesting ride. The series was well produced, very well produced. I struggle to root for anyone.
Yeah, no, they're all pieces of shit. That's why the show works.
It's so great. That's the best part. Like, that's what you got to do. Everyone has to. When everyone's a villain, who do you root for?
Except for that bitch, Carol Baskins.
Carol Baskins!
No, she totally killed her husband.
Oh, 100%. All the weird little interviews with her, like whenever they asked her about that, and just the little laugh she does at the beginning of every segment.
The sardine oil thing made me laugh really hard.
Yep.
You'd have to do something really specific, like cover him in sardine oil.
Yes. No,
I've
killed. You know, they're trying to say that I killed my husband. Have you ever heard anything more ridiculous? By the way, if you ever actually did want to get a big cat to kill someone, or eat someone, you'd probably want to douse them in something that they like sardine oil.
There you go.
Also, I never did that.
While I do find it difficult to root for anyone in Tiger King, I am applauding Joe Exotic for how hard he trolled Carol Baskins. Like, to the point of doing the music video, hiring someone who looked exactly like her and having her feed meat to the tigers. God bless you, Joe Exotic.
A true madman.
He got a little over the line. You know, he
got what he wanted.
He did.
He got what he wanted. He's now famous.
He's now famous, and the investigation on Carol Baskin's ex-husband is reopened. So,
oh man! And what if he was right?
Right? This whole time, he's not just some crazy man shooting, fucking things that he's calling Carol out in the wild.
He's dropping woke bombs on the people.
Just a carpet woke bomb, brother.
Then maybe he could claim that his attempt to have Carol Baskins killed was self-defense. Because he knew what she was capable of.
Hey, if it's all true, then that's a fair assessment.
Also, can we talk for a second about the crazy other dude who seems to have his shit together? That the Don dude or whatever the fuck his name is, who is actually creating a cult.
Oh, the
what the fuck?
Bhagavan?
There has not been enough, everything's dealing with, okay, look how Joe Exotic is fucking crazy. Yes, Carol Baskins definitely killed her husband. None of the memes have anything to do with this guy who is forming a sex cult. Yeah. What the fuck?
Yeah, but how mild-mannered is he?
Very mild-mannered.
That's why. He's not saying anything outrageous enough.
He's very trained. He's very trained.
Because when he's hiding it.
When they ask him loaded questions, he says outright, I could tell you exactly what I think, but I know. Like that kind of stuff. Like, I know what you're digging for and you're not going to get it. Yeah.
That's why there's no memes. He's too careful.
Yeah.
And yet they interview the girl who got out of the sex cult, and she's just like, yeah, it was a pretty well-known thing that if you had sex with him, you got places that you wanted to go. And
I don't understand the running concept of the exotic animals lure women to have sex with you.
Apparently all cat people are crazy is pretty much what I'm getting from this entire document.
I know even way more people who would fuck someone to pet a sloth than to pet a baby tiger.
And thus Ryan's new idea for a sloth zoo was born. 20 years down the line, we'll have 20 years down the line, we're gonna have Sloth King starring Ryan.
How are we gonna feed Ryan to the sloths though? They won't eat him.
No, they'll just do it slowly.
Just one finger at a time. Starting with that raised pinky right there, Ryan.
Look. Just because we're in quarantine doesn't mean I lose all of my classy features.
Is that a Coors Light?
No, who do you think he is?
Him or me?
Yes.
Because this is a Mike Hess grapefruit IPA. It is delicious. And Mike Hess is very unique in that when you open the top of the can, you open the top of the can.
It's the open mic, brother.
You actually get a lot of nose as a part of that. As
yes, you can smell the tannins.
No, it's come on, man. Like if you've drank something that's good in a bottle or in a can versus in a glass, you know that the reason that the glass is there is to improve increase your nose's, use in that drinking experience. And getting a lot more. So
what you're saying is you can't really shotgun it.
Actually, I'd argue that this would definitely shotgun well because you just poke into the sign and then take the whole top off.
So it's a good story about how they have those too. The actual can lid manufacturer got put out by a natural disaster. I think it was a flood. So he just went to his soup lid manufacturer and said, "Can you make lids for my beer cans?"
Really?
Yep, and that's it. And now he just kept it. He's got the open mic going on. You can just rip that thing off, and it's just a whole open mouth on the can.
And
so what you're saying
fucking
is
outstanding.
So what you're saying is when you open up a can of Mike Hess whoop ass, you're opening up the whole can of Mike Hess whoop ass.
No. I already said it's called the open mic. It's literally printed on the can.
But honestly, I've bought some, like New Belgium did a series of beers in partnership with Ben & Jerry. And if you drink them straight from the bottle, they were okay. They were fine. But there's only so much of that flavor that you can put into that before it's just not a beer. And so a lot of the sweetness lives in the nose. So those beers are drastically different when drank from a glass, as opposed to drinking out of the beer, because like my nose is not engaged in this at all. So it's entirely relying on my taste buds to, give me that flavor profile.
I'm just saying
you have to pour it through one of your nostrils and just let it come through your palate.
I'm just saying, if you think about that sentence enough, you realize that Joe Exotic might be right about his lifestyle.
Live life through the nose, brother.
I love the taste smell of cocaine. the smaced as it were.
Dan's Joe Exotic might be better than all of ours, and I'm not sure
Probably.
if he's seen the show.
I've never actually heard his voice.
It is a comical voice.
It is.
You've seen the face.
I've seen the face, yes.
I don't know if the voice fits the face. I was going to say he may sound exactly the way you expect, but no, not necessarily.
It's like take a stereotypical country boy accent, go up 4 octaves, and then add a list, and that's pretty much what you got.
Yeah.
Understandable.
And that voice that everyone right now listening to the podcast, hearing that in your head right now, if you have not seen, Tiger King, that is exactly what it sounds like.
Don't say Tiger King.
Another thing that I don't see people talking about enough is him saying, "You can fill your cart with as much meat as you want. You get up to the cashier, and it comes up declined. They can't put that back on the shelf, so we go out back and we pick it up out of the dumpsters." So like you
have to shake the camera when you're saying that.
But it was, he'd get expired meat and would force them to have to throw out meat, which seems weird to me. Like it seems odd to me, the idea that if you get to the cash register with prepackaged meat, like meat that was packaged on site to the cash register and you can't pay for it, they can't reshelf that?
I've never heard of that before.
Right, I haven't either.
I think I remember that being a thing at Target, actually.
Really?
Yeah, because if it's cold.
Does Target have meat that they package on site?
Oh, on site, I don't know. But we definitely had to throw away the stuff that was cold that you brought up, as long as it wasn't like liquid or whatever.
Really?
Yeah.
So if they came up with like fucking Johnsonville brats, whatever, frozen Johnsonville brats, they come up to the cash register, they can't pay for it. Those Johnsonville brats will not make it back to the shelf.
No, because if they defrost, then there's a chance of them being being contaminated, and you sell that you defrost it and then you refrost it, then you sell that to somebody and they get like meat or get food poisoning or something.
Meat poisoning.
They've got the meat, brother.
The vegans were right all along.
That's That's my new pickup line. Hey girl, you want some meat poisoning?
Is that how you're gonna get people?
And pepper spray.
That's my new grindcore band name. What are you talking about?
Meat poisoning. Now, Ryan, you won't be pepper sprayed at all if you bring a sloth into the picture.
That's true.
Evidently.
If I approach her with a sloth on me and I just go,
Hey, baby.
check out my sloth. Also, you want some meat poisoning?
That's stupid.
So dumb.
So yeah, Joe Exotic is fucking bonkers. Definitely recommend it to people. Our boy in blue saw an early release on this past Tuesday. Sonic the Hedgehog, as most of the studios have been releasing stuff that's already in theaters or early releasing stuff that is destined for video. Sonic saw an early release this past Tuesday, and it's just as fun as I remember from when we went to see it in the theater. God bless Jim Carrey. Watched the outtakes or deleted scenes, and I thought original design Sonic was nightmare fuel. Their previs renders are nightmare fuel. Like, good Lord. It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. It's like
I need to see this.
It's like watching a prototype for the very first ever 3D Sonic the Hedgehog. It is scary stuff.
So
I need to see this.
Yeah, it's chunky, it's bad. Like, so, with all 3D video films, they do previs. So they do low poly renders of things to pre-visualize the scene and stuff like that. So a lot of these deleted scenes only have previs available. So yeah, it's interesting and terrifying.
I wanted to see the Sonic the Hedgehog butthole edition, okay?
I was gonna make that joke, Brooks, you son of a bitch!
Further evidence that Tyler and Brooks are the same person.
I mean, have you ever actually seen us in the same room? I don't know.
The probably the most interesting deleted scene stuff was at some point that owl that we see very briefly, that owl caretaker that we see very, very briefly at the beginning of the film, was originally going to carry over into Earth. And so when he comes over to Earth, he comes to Earth with her. And part of the reason that he's sheltered is that he's just with her and kind of his caretaker, or her caretaker, until he gets to be about 16 years old when she dies on Earth. So that, I think, actually would have fleshed out the character a little bit better, because like we get little toddler Sonic having fun, you know, and then all of a sudden a bunch of echidnas like try and kill everybody and succeed in killing the owl, and he escapes to Earth. Fast forward 16 years. You know, like if we kept that common, that person that we've established as caretaker to point of death, and now he starts getting lonely and restless, that makes a little bit more sense.
I kind of like what they did in the movie, though, like the idea of just going absolutely insane because he's been alone for the majority of his life.
Right. But
maybe it's because I now identify it with it.
But like realistically, in the film as distributed timeline, that means that he's been alone for what, probably 11 years.
Alone like that.
And like, you want to talk about fucking losing your mind after like 2 weeks, 3 weeks of quarantine. You know, like 11 years. That's...
Yeah, I would die.
My OC is as strong or as powerful as Sonic, okay? I'm gonna... Oh, man. Yeah, that would have added something to the film for sure, but I think they wanted to shorten the runtime. Otherwise, the movie would have been too slow.
And as we know with Sonic, you gotta go fast.
Yes.
You're too slow.
Ryan saw that joke from way too far away.
It approached me at a very, very slow speed.
Unlike Sonic. Speaking of other things that... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I just wanted to reiterate that after rewatching, because obviously I pre-ordered it. After rewatching the movie, I'm excited to see how they establish lore. Because so spoiler...
Well, he's Data's brother.
Spoiler, guys. Tails shows up.
Tiles?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Tails
Nailed
shows up.
Tiles per hour.
Tails per hour. Tails shows up at the post credits thing. That's great, and shows that they want to develop this world more. I'm curious to see. It just makes me excited and curious to see where and how far they're going to take this. Are we going to see an introduction of Chaos Emeralds? Are we going to see, these kind of elements of the game like really flesh out in narrative fashion?
Are we going to get Shadow?
Oh, Christ. Are we going to get fucking Robosonic? Are we going to get,
God.
Hang on there a second. Okay, it's Metal Sonic.
Yeah, no,
first
that's
of
fine.
all.
That's fine.
Are we going to get...
Did you just Brady Bunch sigh and look above you, Dan? You were just got it.
I just sighed.
But there was an upward glance, and it was delightful.
It really was. And I know that Dan did not mean that to be that way, but...
I didn't.
It's canon now. Dan likes Brady Bunch.
It was just the pure, unadulterated shame.
For reference, if you want to do that in the future, Brooks is up and to your left.
You are down there.
For you, I am directly below you for everybody else. Brooks, he is down and to your right.
We're all on different.
So if I like reach up through here, can I choke him?
Getting close. See, Brooks, what you should have done is like taking your other hand, come over from the side.
So,
another thing that got early released, Onward, the new Pixar movie.
Oh, that's right. It's now on Disney Plus.
On Disney Plus as of, I think, today or yesterday, right?
It was
Friday, actually. Friday. April 3rd.
How have you guys seen it?
I have not seen it, but it is available already, which is super weird considering that movie literally came out less than a week before all of this started going down. It's like I've heard very good things.
It's a great movie. It's a very, very good movie.
I like it quite a bit.
Yeah. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots of D&D in it. It is very, very good. It is Spider-Man and Star-Lord, and they are brothers. Yeah,
in a van.
Brothers. It's
Down
great.
by the river.
It's absolutely great. They did a really good job. Lots of nerdy D&D stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun. It's a fucking Pixar movie. Like, what do you expect? You know, it's great. It's great. I can't say anything bad about it.
You should do that. Speaking of nerdy things, today is the date that we make contact with the Vulcans in Star Trek. So
today is the day.
Everyone. Today. Well, this is the day of the month, but that's not until like 2067 or 60.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I'm so used to catching up on the Blade Runner date and the fucking, Back to the Future date. I thought that we had caught up on the First Contact date.
Oh no.
Well, if we actually make it to that date, I will wish you all happy Disappointment Day when we still haven't contacted anyone from outer space, and the world will be no better.
Yep.
Nice.
Speaking of dates, I feel like we need to come up. We need to start brainstorming right now the name of the new national holiday that's going to come about when all of the quarantine stuff is over. There needs to be a national holiday. When we get out of this in months' time, whoever knows, there needs to be a national holiday. We have to have a name for it.
So obviously that holiday is going to have to be celebrated through huge social gathering.
100%.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, we gotta come up with names. I came up with Emergence Day, but apparently that's from fucking Gears of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like we can reclaim that from Gears of War.
Did you have this conversation with Kalis and he was like, Gears of War?
I had this conversation with somebody. You cut out hardcore there.
Yeah. We could really piss off Firefly fans and call it Unification Day.
Oh God, please. I mean, it's not like we're going to get any more fire.
I don't think that would piss off Firefly fans. It's
give them anything Firefly related now, and you'll make them happier. So
Reunification Day.
There's not going to be any more.
The date of which we still have no idea.
Yeah.
The reality we live in is we have no idea when it will be safe to be out and about again and among other people again. That's
be normal.
Weird.
It is weird.
Still back to the topic of movies. We have seen the delay of Morbius.
Everything.
Morbius and Ghostbusters Afterlife have been delayed to 2021.
I wish Ghostbusters would just be laid to rest. Just let it be.
I don't know, man. Afterlife actually looks decent. It looks pretty good. It's got Finn Wolfhard in it, and he's great. And I like the direction that they're coming from. The trailer shows promise. So I'm not willing to poo-poo it just yet because I enjoy the universe a great deal.
Poo-poo.
I mean, I don't like, but I'm in the boat of I don't even think it needed a second movie. Like there could have just been
Ghostbusters 2.
one
Ghostbusters 2 as well.
It's not that
Vigo the Carpathian.
I don't know, man. Just it would have been a nice like cult classic film. Would have been okay.
I agree.
It didn't need the extra installments, and it wasn't like. And none of the films, as far as I'm concerned, were at all like great movies. I don't know why people were like,
the first one is
Ghostbusters is sacred. Like it was okay. It was good. It wasn't like fucking incredible.
The first one is pretty outstanding. Like
I think
if you say so.
I think we need to have a new segment where Dan reviews popular movies and just puts fans in their place.
I don't know if it was like a
Citizen.
I don't know if it was just like my childhood had animated Ghostbusters, had the real Ghostbusters.
Real Ghostbusters.
And so, like, because I was even too young to really appreciate the Ghostbusters films when they came out.
I was not alive.
Neither was I.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know that any of you were.
Finally, something before me.
Yes,
I was born in '89.
The only one aside from me born in the 80s, yeah?
I was born in the '80s.
Yeah, you are the only one aside from me who was born in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
God, listen with your ears. You have those headphones on.
What? Is this how they work?
But I feel like the animated series that came out was like more targeted to my generation, my youth, and it made me fall in love with those characters and then revisiting the movie. And so it has, because of the cartoon for me, has a solid nostalgia foundation.
I just love the movie. I watched it when I was a kid. It was a great movie. I love Bill Murray.
Right, of course.
As everyone does.
Yeah.
If Bill Murray's in a movie, there's a 99% chance that I'm going to enjoy it.
I should call that random number that he has that you have to leave a voicemail and pitch an idea to in order to get him to do anything. Have you guys heard about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can make that like a quick mini podcast or mini YouTube video. Or
I just love how crazy he is, that he'll just do anything and he doesn't care. You know, that's the type of rich person I would be. Like, I don't have to care. Like, I'm rich. I literally don't have to care about anything anymore. So I'll go serve as a bartender at some big party, and just whenever someone orders something, I'll give them a tequila shot.
That's what I was going to reference. I saw this great footage of him, like, championing some, all-female band that sounded great in a fucking basement show. Like, he was basically their roadie. He showed up with them and was there, like, shaking a fucking, like, it was nuts. It's nuts that he's just, oh, well, Bill Murray's here. Okay, that's just a thing.
He just gets to live the life that he enjoys. Like, he has enough resources that he just gets to be happy all the time. It's great.
Yeah.
and the choices vary from day to day.
Yes. But that's what makes him even better. Like, he didn't just choose one thing to hold himself up and do. Like, he's just making weird experiences for himself and everyone around him, which is the best thing you can do. Like,
and yet he made Lost in Translation.
Well,
Lost in Translation is so good, and I disagree with you if you hated that movie.
Some sins can be forgiven.
So
I love that movie. That's a great movie.
It's problematic in translation.
Because it was lost.
Problematic.
No, it does fall back on a lot of stereotyping and shit like that. I think that the underlying concept of two foreigners in a foreign land commiserating with each other and finding solace and comfort in each other's company is something that can be portrayed without being judgmental of a culture.
I never got the idea that it was judgmental. I got the idea that it was coming from the lens of someone who has no idea what they're doing, and they're both flawed characters that don't really get what's happening. Like, you have to look at it through the lens of what those characters are. Like,
sure,
Bill Murray's character was kind of a dick a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. What's the distinction? Is the writing ignorant, or are the characters written to be ignorant? That's the difference.
In my opinion, were written to be ignorant. And it wasn't that the movie was passing judgment. It was that the characters were passing judgment.
Yeah. So when it comes to things like that, I am fully in the camp of it's not my culture, and so I'm not the one to decide whether it's offensive or not.
Oh, no.
But when I see people of that culture saying that they find it offensive, I know why they find it offensive.
Okay. No, that's fair. But I feel like that was the effect that they were going for. It was like they were both very flawed characters that were not supposed to be seen as good guys or bad guys. It was just supposed to display exactly the feelings that these characters were feeling in this area, in this exact scene, and that's what made them that like it was not supposed to be like, oh, this is how you should feel. It was just how they do feel, if that makes sense.
Right, but a lot of plot is kind of predicated on culture shock, like just the core element of culture shock. And because it's being told from the point of view of Americans, that culture shock is, you know, like regardless of whether it's the voice of a character or the voice of the auteur, it can be a little judgmental and stereotypical. So I understand where a lot of the offense comes from. I think the writing was great. I think Sofia Coppola's directing was great. But I also understand why.
No, I get that.
I didn't really connect with the characters personally. That's why I don't like the movie.
Yeah,
because they were assholes. They both sucked.
Well, it's like I'm not going to get that kind of like opportunity. You know what I mean? At least right. In the foreseeable future, where it's like, oh well, you know, I gotta find myself like stuck in another country someplace for, you know, weeks on end.
I'm a celebrity pawning whiskey, or I'm a famous photographer's girlfriend. Do you not see yourself being either of those things in the future?
Not chilling whiskey I don't drink.
So you mean
also with how frequently and viscerally the Japanese make fun of other people's cultures for like slapstick jokes, I don't really care if they get made fun of either. So we literally get called the cheeseburger country.
Yeah. We kind of deserve it too, though.
We are the cheeseburger country.
Cheeseburgers. In paradise.
How can we be the cheeseburger country when Cheeseburg is in Germany?
I hate you. I hate you so much.
That one felt good.
That was, you know what? Why do I hate you? I do the same thing. I will not cast stones in glass houses.
But I will shoot my t-shirt gun, though.
Also, I agree. We do deserve to be called the cheeseburger country, but I always revel in cultures making fun of each other. I think it's hilarious. Like,
sure.
I have always thought that's hilarious, and will never stop thinking it's hilarious.
Right.
Even if someone threatens to break my legs because I'm problematic, like, whatever, dude. break my legs, I'll still laugh.
Okay. We've got you on record as saying, break my legs, I'll still laugh.
Not while you're breaking my legs, but I'll continue to laugh at your culture after you've broken my legs, is what I'm saying. Like,
Dan finds...
While you're breaking my legs, I will scream in agony, yes.
So,
one takeaway we can take away from this entire podcast is Dan finds pain funny. Beat up Dan as much as you can.
When you see Dan
I do
in public,
find pain funny.
When you see Dan in public, make sure to not only make fun of Dan, but break his legs.
Yeah, just break my legs, dude.
Take a crowbar to his knees. He'll be fine. He might laugh at you for it.
So
I can still drink on crutches, brother.
Let's get some shitty cup holders.
No, dude, I'm just gonna drink hat.
I'm imagining cup holders on crutches and how horrible an idea that is.
No, you have to put them on like
a gyro.
Yeah, like a gyro, so it's like free floating and it's always facing straight up.
On the topic of video games, Final Fantasy VII Remake comes out at the end of this week. It is out on April 10th. Square Enix has issued a number of updates throughout this because they clearly understand how ahead of this they need to get. Because there have been probably 3 or 4 like major updates with regard to distribution that Square has done in the past few weeks. And it sounds like they may be late getting the game to distributors, but they have started shipping everything a week early. So they have asked that people who do receive their copy of the game early to not spoil it, because they made significant changes to the game and story and things like that.
Maybe it'll actually be good this time.
Hey. Don't you... You
gonna do? Come to my house and kick my ass? You gonna break my legs? Huh?
I'm gonna stop playing Risk of Rain with you, fucker.
Fight, virtual fight, social distancing fight.
I'm in my idle animation. You haven't even seen my final form. And Dan's in his idle animation too, which is no animation at all. It's just anger. It's just grouchy old man face. That's it.
I need no fighting stance.
Oh, he's the shapeless one.
I'm the guy who lets you hit me in the face, then calls you a little bitch.
I am bleeding. That means I am the victor. There's a
so they started shipping out so like I pre-ordered direct through Square Enix. They started shipping those orders out a week early. And then their stuff to distributors, they can't guarantee the delivery date. So some people may end up being late in being able to play and things like that. But it's interesting to watch a company as big as Square Enix have a full grasp on how important a specific release is to their fan base. I have seen all too frequently companies who are not as transparent as Square Enix has been through this with things that are highly anticipated and then suffer the backlash when they fail to deliver. And so it's been especially interesting that Square Enix, of all the companies, is the one who's really being super communicative and transparent about what may delay your ability to play this game. You know, like I feel like the last time that we saw this kind of transparency was when Nintendo said, look, we're starting this new Metroid Prime game over.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like a lot of companies are getting that way. Like, are starting to get that way now, especially because games have kind of been our way to get through this in a lot of fashion. So, and which kind of...
I don't need games, I need fitness. Pure fitness.
But even with that, though, like, we've also seen a few games get pushed back. Like Last of Us 2 is now
Last of Us 2
later.
And that hasn't even been rescheduled.
Definite. Which is surprising. I feel like there's got to be another reason besides just the... Like, how far along were they that they can't do this at?
Yeah, and especially considering, like, for that type of work, the only stuff that you would have to be in office for are audio stuff. You know, like,
voice acting.
Theoretically, you would not have... not even necessarily voice acting, but certainly voice acting, but like even like environment building, audible, environment building. I can't necessarily assume that any of the people who they have working for them to build those auditory environments have the necessary equipment at home, because that in making a game, that arguably takes up the most resources. Like, it's basically you have to have an incredibly capable home studio in order to do that, especially for a AAA title. As far as everything else about that game, that's code. Texture building, fucking everything else is code and computers. You've got a computer at home, you can do that from home. I'm a programmer. I'm working from home, like that's all stuff that can be done at home. The only stuff that can't really necessarily is the stuff that relies on, high grade equipment.
Well, then also with how they've been doing Last of Us with the motion sensing and the actual acting out the scenes, that makes me wonder if there were a lot of...
I would assume they've got to have that shit done by now. Right? Yeah.
That's the only other thing that would require you to be in a studio of some sort.
Right.
So that's...
No, I have a mocap suit here at the...
That just makes me
If
wonder...
you owned a mocap suit, you would just wear it every single day. You can't really see me. Right now, I am a small leprechaun.
You cut out, so I have no idea what I actually am.
Audience, fill in the blanks with your own imagination.
It's Topless Robot Libs.
Oh, can we do that? Just have a full episode where we're just like mouthing words and then people submit ideas of what we're saying.
Terrible.
Let's just do an episode of just regular Mad Libs.
We're just taking...
I played Pictionary with people. I played Pictionary with people on I think it was Zoom.
We'll play Mad Libs with our audience at some point. I'm super down for that.
I would be too. I think that, like, last week when I did the Jackbox Party Pack, I think that'd be really fun to have like a Topless Robot plays Jackbox Party Pack and just have...
That'd be pretty fun. Yeah, we could do that.
People join in if they want to.
We could definitely do that. So
sounds intriguing.
Yes.
All right. We have gotten to the end of the podcast. And I'm trying to find an Ask Reddit for us to address.
Ask Reddit.
And I feel like this is probably something that's right along our lines.
All right.
What's a friendlier alternative to fuck you?
Step off.
Step off!
Step off?
Step off!
Mm-hmm.
Friendly alternative to fuck you.
Forget you!
I mean, my usual is either just repeating a very like casually dismissive like "that's nice" or "very cool" like over and over and over again. Very cool.
I was gonna say like cool story.
Yeah, kind of my version of cool story. Though I don't mean to tell anyone that anytime I've said this, I've actually been saying "fuck you." It's all in the tone. Right on.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
Right on.
Now I know. Now I realize that Ryan actually hates me. Fuck.
It's his favorite Pokemon too.
But no, like, sometimes it's, and I guess now that I think about it, I probably ended up, Dustin chimes in, neat.
Yeah.
Now that I think about this, I probably got Right On from the old Anti-Flag song, Right On. Where it's just kind of like, Right On is not taken seriously. It's just Right On. Right on.
Head on. Applied directly to the forehead. Head on. Applied directly to the forehead. Right on.
And on that note, that's going to end it for this episode of the Topless Robot Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and or listening. Everybody be safe. Remain indoors. Do not panic. Bye. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Very cool.
Subscribe.